Remember when common sense was common? When standing up for what is right was the right thing to do? Welcome to The Right Side. Common sense conversations about Hawaii's political landscape and how it affects you, your ohana, and your community. Join us for the next hour as we cut through the political noise and look at Hawaii from the right side, where public officials and community leaders discuss the policies that affect our future, strategies that move the needle, and highlight leaders that are stepping up to make a difference. Get ready for The Right Side. A common sense conversation.
All right, it's Augie and Malia. You know, I got to tell you, I'm so proud of this show because we've talked about topics that recently has been in the news, you know, with the child torture.
Torture bill.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
And not only that, but like, you know, anti-bullying and, you know.
Illegal fireworks.
Yes. So, and we just passed the game, you know, for gambling.
Illegal game room bills.
So there's a lot we're talking about that's relevant to, you know, what's happening right now. So very proud. Thank you, Salvia, for giving me the opportunity to, you know, talk about some of the things that affect us here in the city. So very, very thankful. The number here, 808-913-6450, 808-913-6450, in case you want to call in and ask questions. Okay, we have a great show today because a lot of us, you know, our pets are very important. I have 6 of them running around in my house.
I know. I usually don't admit that.
Yes.
So you're now admitting this on the air.
Oh, no, people know. Like, I talk about Ollie a lot.
Your cat?
My cat, Ollie. Because, you know, he's, you know, for some reason, I feel like every time I look at him, he's like, hey, he's like almost talking to me. Like,
because he's so big.
He is so big. His head is just as big as mine.
He's like he's almost like maybe that's the wild cat everybody's saying they see in the woods.
Well, we're talking pets. And by the way, so I'm looking at my producer of my morning radio show. He's doing today's show. We've been working our tails off. Huh, Chaz? Yeah, he's shaking his head.
Hi, Chaz.
All right. So, you know, for many of us, our pets are part of our family and we treat them that way. But in some cases, pet owners have abandoned their pets on the streets, left them at, you know, Oahu's, pet shelters, or, you know, surrender them because they no longer can care for them. In some cases, pet owners die, and their pets need a new home. And, one of Oahu's nonprofits is working really hard to take care of our animals, that don't have homes. And, you know, we got to meet you guys several weeks ago, and I thought it would be so good to have them on the radio show because, you know, for me, I feel like we need to educate the public, you know, because I didn't realize how many pets go, you know, homeless too. You know, when people move or, like you said, when homeowners die, you know, and it's just really sad. It breaks my heart because, you know, we do treat our pets like our family members. So, Malia, you want to introduce our guests?
Sure. We have Stephanie Ryan, and she's the founder and president of the Oahu SPCA, and she can tell us more about that. And also she has 25 years of experience in animal rescue. She's served in multiple capacities in many California-based animal welfare organizations, and she spent 7 years in the Bay Area working supplying and funding 600 family food banks that reached families of East Oakland, South San Francisco, and the inner city San Francisco each week. Stephanie is also an architect and an investor with 47 successful high-end residential and commercial projects as part of her resume. She's a full-time director at Oahu SPCA.
Wow, you have your hands full.
Volunteer.
She's very talented, very talented. And also John LeBron is here. He's the operational and veteran director of veterinarian director of Oahu SPCA. Previously, he served as the director of community medicine for the Humane Society of Saratoga County, and he was the general curator for the Saratoga Jungle Garden Zoo. And he was a member of the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission as well. He's also served as a wildlife and exotic specialist for Care Animal Hospital and Wildlife Rescue Ministries. So I couldn't believe when I was reading his resume because he deals with all the scary things that I'm scared of, like venomous snakes, big cats. Well, big cats are pretty cool. Crocodiles. No, thank you.
Okay, wait. For a moment. You saw the pictures of the supposedly cat.
Oh, is it a cat?
What do you think?
No, it's a dog.
Yeah,
Really?
the big tail is the chest, the marking on the chest.
Yeah.
And if you look at the skull formation, that's a dog. I mean, everybody wants it to be a big cat. That's exciting.
Of course,
but
right.
There's no way a
There's
cougar-
no way.
Yeah, there's no way.
It's been in the news. Well, just for people that don't know what we're talking
Right.
about, there's been in the news this rumor that somebody saw a big wild cat in the woods, and I was like, no.
Yeah, well, you know, in all the years that we've lived there,
Yes.
people want to see something that...
They always say
Right?
that. Like every 5 years, it comes back.
Yeah.
It's like Bigfoot,
Correct.
but it's not. It's not Bigfoot,
Now,
and it's also
there's-
not a cat.
I know there's a wallaby.
Yes,
Because it's
somebody
been
hit one.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, there's a wallaby.
With somebody's pet that got loose.
No, there's like a supposedly small wallaby
Yeah.
population back in Kalihi Valley, like very small, but he doesn't believe it.
No, that's interesting. I want to kind of go out now and like hunt that area.
No, you
look for
should.
one.
You should.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie. Maybe several years ago, I'm driving up to the poly, right, and I go, hold on, and I see sitting on the side.
A baby wallaby.
Yeah.
Or a little wallaby. No,
Yeah.
and the reason I even believe it is because not only have so many people seen it, but also I thought there was in the news that somebody hit one, and
Yeah.
it was on the highway,
Yeah.
Leaky Highway.
So we have wallabies.
So I don't know. You have to go out and investigate, and then we'll do another
But
show.
like, even when we
Find out.
met with them privately, I'm
You
like,
mean John and Stephanie?
Yes, John and
Yes.
Stephanie privately in my office. I was like, okay, you know what I mean? You're here in Hawaii. You know, we have, dogs, cats, Jackson chameleons, maybe a wallaby or two, but really, guinea pigs.
Mongoose.
Right.
Yeah.
You go, from like Florida, the Everglades, to here.
Yeah, you deal with crocodiles or whatever, and then you come over here and we have Jackson chameleons. I mean, it must be so boring.
Yeah, like, thank you, Stephanie, for taking me away from, the craziness. But you guys do a lot. Yeah, you guys do a lot. So tell us about SPCA.
Well, the Oahu SPCA is the first no-kill animal shelter in the state of Hawaii, and we work very hard to save as many lives as we possibly can, and treat every patient that comes to our clinic with low-cost care, and this enables the families to stay together because of the escalating cost of veterinary services.
That's a lot.
And we sterilize approximately 3,600 animals per year, and that is the focus of our clinic, to save lives through sterilization and humanely save lives that way. And we have outreach at 11 locations throughout the state. We're blessed to be featured at every Petco in the entire state, and we work very hard to educate the public on the importance of responsible pet ownership, mainly sterilization, and proper pet care so that every family member has the care that they need.
That's awesome. Okay, John, so you go from Florida to here.
Yes.
What have you learned so far?
So, I've been around the country doing work, especially with community cats. I would say I wasn't prepared when I came here. I wasn't expecting to see so many cats in the community, such a need for veterinary medicine, so many stray dogs. I know Stephanie, founding the organization, she's made a big dent and a big impact on that. But we're so far here in the island from where we want to be. And just to put it out there, I kind of love Florida because I'm getting old. I'm a little thick.
Hold on. A lot of people move to Florida when they get old, right? That's like
I know, it's the opposite. You're the opposite.
Yeah,
and also you're not thick, but okay.
Yeah, I've had too many close calls in my life doing the dangerous stuff, and now I'm 40. I'm like, I need to settle down. I need to kind of take it slow. I don't want to be a statistic in my industry, so I decided to really focus more on my main passion, which is community medicine and helping out the animals.
Okay. Yeah, no, when we think about abandoned cats and dogs, we know it's out there, but man, I didn't realize how much.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, maybe you can talk a little bit about how many animals you have in your shelter, because it's pretty shocking.
Yeah.
We usually have about 175 animals within our care, in-house and in foster families at homes. And actually, we have a very strict adoption process. We try to vet out each family to ensure that is a lifelong commitment.
Right.
And this is a family member, and you would not abandon a 5-year-old child dogs have the mental capacity of a 5-year-old child. You would not tether them or abandon them on the street if you adopted a child or had them naturally. So we try to teach the public that that's a lifelong commitment, and they have feelings just like any human does.
All right. Okay, we'll touch on more on, like, just how severe this is, the problem here, and how, you guys can get involved. In fact, I want to give a big shout out. I know my friend Sean Sasaki is listening. He has a foundation that, cares for dogs, and the Yumi Foundation. So yumifoundation.org. What's up to Sean and Sandy? And we'll be back with Stephanie and John. We'll talk more on how, we can do a better job at sheltering our pets and making sure that they don't get abandoned.
Welcome back to The Right Side with Hawaii public officials and community leaders. Let's get back to Common Sense Conversations.
The number here, 808-913-6450. It's Augie. We're talking to the Oahu SPCA. Now, I know Malia has a question, and, I know a lot of you guys are listening right now. You probably have a ton of questions, too, so we'd love to hear from you.
Right. Well, I was just curious. Okay, so I know you said you take care of about 178 adopting out, but maybe you can clarify, because I know you do work with a lot of animals. You sterilize them, you help with vaccinations and so on. So you actually deal with many, many animals.
Yeah, so we're multifold. So yes, we have the shelter operations, which is our passion and our heart, but we also focus on a community clinic. So we operate a low-cost community clinic, and our focus there is preventative medicine as opposed to reactive medicine. So we focus on making sure the client comes in, they're on their prevention, they're on their vaccine schedule, and our focus is to educate them to be better informed owners. So, there's a good saying that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and we believe that at the Oahu SPCA. So an example, you have a Dachshund, they're little sausages, they have a long back. Well, we're going to tell you about keeping their weight down so they don't throw their back out, and talk about dental disease, so learn how to brush your teeth. So that's our main focus in our vet services there. It's a low cost. Then we also do spay and neuter. So we operate about 5 to 6 days a week doing spay and neuter services, including community cat, which we do is called TNR, which is trap, neuter, and return, where community members bring the cats into our office, we sterilize them, and the community members return them back into the community. This year we started doing outreach, which we're going out into community and providing free vaccines to those people who need them in different parts of the island. And then we do operate our low-cost clinics at Petco, as Stephanie said, on every island in Hawaii, and including every Petco here on Oahu.
And that including the rescued animals, we help over 12,000 animals annually statewide.
Wow.
Yeah,
12,000.
that's the number I remembered. I was like, wow, that's a lot of animals that
is
they
a
help.
lot of
I mean,
animals.
it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it blows my mind, only because, we see it. We see, the abandoned dogs in our neighborhoods, and we wonder, like, at what point are we, going to get serious about, like, because we know it's not being taken care of. We know those animals are not being taken care of. And, how do we educate the public and the people to know, like, again, if you're not going to just adopt a kid off the street and then, not really fully take care of them. You know what I mean? You want to have every opportunity. You want to have, get every resource you can so that you can do the same with the pets that we see running around, right?
Right. And we hear, there's I think just from my perspective, I hear, and I don't know if it's true, but that families that are moving away, they don't want to take the animals, so they just let it go on their street, especially with cats.
Yeah. So where does all these pets come from?
I mean, there's different. So, like Malia said, there are people leaving the island. They are abandoning their animals, whether it's because of, restrictions of housing where they're moving. They can't take the pet with them. If it's the cost of, taking a pet and doing a health certificate, getting the airline flight and moving it to the mainland where they're going. There's a lot of variables. And then, there's also a very large population of community cats here in the island. The estimated numbers, depending on what survey you're reading and looking at, anywhere from 50,000 to 300,000 cats just on Oahu. And the median average on the surveys is about 200,000 cats just on Oahu alone.
Augie, you have 6 cats. I think you need to take a few more.
No, I'm good.
Yes.
I'm good. I love them all to death, but when I hear 300,000, 200,000,
How many
Gosh.
can you fit in your yard?
No, I'm good. I'm good, Malia.
Where's
Thank you for
Malia?
considering.
Malia is the one that adopts,
Yeah,
right?
that's
His daughter.
yes,
See,
yes.
she's the one.
But 200,000.
That's so sad.
Yeah, and that's the average census.
So,
200,000
I
cats.
get people calling my office all the time complaining about what we're going to do. And, there's some health risk. There are health
Also,
risks.
just for the birds and everything like that, too, yeah.
Right.
Our
Yeah.
bird population.
Well, we're grateful to you for getting the word out and helping us
Okay.
spread the word and our word of education. So, bottom line, the more people are aware and educated on the importance of sterilizing every pet, then that many pets or cats or dogs will not slip through their fingers and begin procreating indiscriminately in their backyards. So that was the root of the problem. We didn't catch it soon enough, and now it's, we're just not there yet, but we're getting to the point where it's going to be manageable.
Okay, tell us about not get there yet. We live on an island. How can we not be there yet? I mean, I get it. There's a lot of challenges, but when you think about 200,000 just cats on island.
That's like more
What about
than
dogs,
population on some of the neighbor islands.
Yeah, what about dogs?
So that I know of, I don't know any statistics of dogs. Stephanie probably have a better understanding of that because she's been here longer than I have.
There's about 6 to 1 dogs and cats per human in Oahu. So that's what I said. We were the first to provide the lowest cost veterinary services, and that was in 2010. So we're getting a grasp on the problem now, but we've only been in operation in our clinic 14, 15 years.
Okay.
So we're going to need at least another 10 years to get a handle on offering this service that was not available before, and now it's affordable, so now everybody can participate.
All right, we want you guys to grab your pen and paper right now because we're going to repeat this a couple times because we want you guys to get all the information you can, so that we can help contain 200,000. Of that 200,000 homeless cats.
Yeah.
How many? 200,000?
Yeah, the average census is about 200,000.
I know, and it's so sad because they could starve to death, and it's just really sad.
Yeah.
The other thing I see, not to put this on one population, but at least in Waipahu and a lot of other places, we see Waianae, we see like a lot of homeless people that have dogs running around. They're not neutered or spayed, and they're just repopulating. And then they go into the community, and some are friendly, but some are not friendly. Right. And we've seen these dog attacks, wild dog attacks. And I know even on Molokai, when I'm there with my family, they have wild dog packs that run through the ranch, and we have to be very wary of that because they attack the other animals. And, pets and so on. So it's an issue. It's a big issue. Okay, so what's the number or information on how they can get a hold of you guys to get more information? Or your website.
Our main line is 808-754-1519, and we're at Oahu SPCA.org.
Okay, so we're going to repeat that several times because we really want everyone to get educated. A lot of the cities go into schools, where we get them young, where they understand that, it's nice having a pet, nice, carrying them around, but we also got to do whatever we can to make sure that the pet stays healthy and they can get neutered and spayed because, we don't want to keep procreating and where, we see these animals, around town just, not having enough food or maybe even sick and then causing, other animals to get sick. Yeah. Because they can spread diseases. Talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So so one of the perks of spaying and neuter your pets, besides, preventing unwanted litters, is actually prolonging their lifespan. So by spaying and neuter, you also reduce the chances of cancer. You reduce some unwanted behaviors. You also reduce the risk of them escaping. So there's a lot of pros of spaying and neuter your pets. One of the big things we focus on here is vaccines. So I don't know if you guys remember last year, around August, September, we had an outbreak on the island. We had had an outbreak of parvo, which affects dogs, and we also had an outbreak of panleukemia, which affected cats. We were able to keep our operations going, but I believe Hawaii Humane actually had to stop their intakes to kind of manage that. So that's something with, disease that, we vaccinate for at our clinics, whether it's Petco or at our main clinic in Wahiwa. Also follow our social media. We're going to be doing at least 1 or 2 more this month, free community clinics where we're going to be out in the community providing free vaccines. And then your boy Sean over at Demi Foundation actually donated microchips. So if you need your pet microchip.
Right on, Sean.
Yeah, Sean over, Sean and Sandy, they donated, I think, 100 or 200 microchips.
Right on.
SNS Auto. So if you need a microchip as well, we're providing that as well for free for the community.
Okay. Stephanie, the number again. Give everybody the number.
808-754-1519.
And the website?
Is oahuspca.org.
All right, we're talking to Oahu SPCA, and we're talking about animals this afternoon. See, I see Chaz, and I want to say this morning, 808-913-6450. This is the right side of Common Sense Conversation. It's Augie, we're talking pets.
Welcome back to The Right Side with Hawaii public officials and community leaders. Let's get back to Common Sense Conversation.
808-913-6450. As we're talking about like preventative medicine, it's like government. If we took care of small things now, 10 years down the line, we wouldn't be paying for so much.
Do you remember the last mayor that really took care of the infrastructure?
Yeah.
Frank Fossey.
Yes. Well,
he was awesome at it, actually.
Well, yeah, and Governor Ariyoshi, they used the money that was supposed to go to fix the hard stuff so that, future generations down the line don't have to, be caught with that burden. And that's why, last week when we did the sewer fees, I said that was probably the toughest decision I had to make, by raising sewer fees for people. But it was like that because we never take care of it 15 years ago when we should have.
Right. And in Kailua, we have the, issue of, sewage in our ocean and the bad readings all the time coming up. I mean, and I'm out there swimming, paddling out. And
right.
So are a lot of people with their families and their pets.
Right.
And we certainly don't want the ocean being contaminated.
And that's why, today's conversation with Oahu SPCA is something that, we sometimes, turn a blind eye to. But if we took care of this in the beginning, like you're talking about how, cases of cancer in your pets go down if you get them sterilized early or you get them the vaccine so that, when they get older, you don't abandon them because, I don't like pay for this cost. Yeah, too expensive. Well, then you should have thought about that when you first got your pet.
Right.
And that's why educating the public is so important. And that's why it's programs like this, I hope, that'll get the information out. And as long as I'm in office for the next 3 years and 7 months, I just want to be as transparent as we can so that, our future generations don't get caught with what we're getting caught with. 200,000 cats.
Yeah.
And we get calls again in our office. How, the cat poop and, all these things, maybe, will hurt other animals or, even people. But it's because we never do our homework or we never do what we can now. So I appreciate you guys coming.
Yeah,
so,
and we have Stephanie and John
yes.
from Oahu SPCA.
Yeah, and that's why, it just all kind of makes sense. You guys doing your part. But you said, Stephanie, maybe a few years too late. And now we got to work hard and making sure that we can do whatever we can so it don't get out of control because it's already
cat population,
out of control.
And even the dog population, the wild dog.
So let's continue to talk about the importance of sterilizing pets at an early age.
Yeah. Yeah, so, it's so important to sterilize pets at an early age because, most of your dogs and cats at 6 months, they can reach reproductive age, meaning that they can produce. Mm-hmm. Dogs on average can have about 1 or 2 litters a year. Cats are totally different. Cats can have anywhere from 2 to 5 litters a year. And if you figure the average litter size of a cat is 3 to 6 cats, and let's say that, 4 of those cats reach sexual maturity, you do the math on that. Before you know it, you have 80 cats that turn into several hundred cats. So they are highly reproductive. One of the things we face here in Hawaii is that we don't have predation. There's no predators. So on the mainland, there are animals that predate on cats, which help keep them in balance. So you have leopards, not leopards. So you have cougars, you have foxes, you have bobcats, you have snakes, you have other birds of prey that will feed on cats and small dogs. The other thing we're blessed here in Hawaii is we have, amazing weather. There's no inclement weather here. We don't have blizzards. I'm from Florida. Haven't dealt with a hurricane in a year. I love it. There's no tornadoes here, anything like that. So those two factors alone, really help the cats thrive here. And then the other thing too is our weather. We have a beautiful climate that's pretty warm year round. Well, guess what? Cats love warm, sunny climates. That puts them in a mood and they want to reproduce. So there's a lot of variables when it comes to the cats. And like Malia was saying,
just like happy people, they produce.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. So, and like Malia said, the dogs are another thing. There are packs of dogs running around here. The homeless camps, they do produce them. We know from experience that they sell them in the camps for whatever they want to trade or barter with. And we do try to go in. We're starting to go into the camps and build relationships with them to kind of get the pets sterilized. And one of our goals this year is called a MASH unit. And basically what that is we don't take them from the camp. We don't take them away from their owners. We're going to go out there to the camps, to the owners, and we're going to spay and neuter them where they're located. That way they know the pet's still going to be there. It's going to be for them. But it's a multifold. We have to manage the cat population through TNR, and we have to manage the camp population of dogs.
808-913-6450. How does Oahu SPCA support a community by low-cost veterinary services you guys provide to the public? And how can pet owners take advantage of this?
Well, because we're the lowest cost veterinary services and we do sterilization pretty much full time, we have very talented staff members, about 14 veterinarians on staff, and all proceeds of our veterinary clinic services go to the care and rehabilitation of every rescued animal in our system.
That's awesome.
Well,
That's
I did want to ask you a question about what you need to be supported so that people can support you so you can keep working with the animals. I know you've got grants and donations and you're a nonprofit, so people can donate to you. Foundations can donate to you. And you're also working to get another building, right? Or another campus.
Correct.
Can you tell us about that?
Yes, we've been... The real estate market is the tightest in history, so we're in the process of negotiating right now for a new facility, and it's quite expensive. So we're going to have to rely on government grants and fundraising. So our clinic also supports our mission, so that you can help us by supporting our clinic and also donating and rallying your family members. Gather them all. This is a very tight community. Everybody loves their family. Pets are family. So, rally your family members, inspire them to be responsible pet owners, and let's go to the next level.
There's a lot of giving people here too. We know that. So if you want to make a donation, again, the website,
Oahu SPCA.org.
Okay, I want to keep saying it because I really, I want you guys to look at the website, but I want you guys to get educated. I think it's so important. Again, preventative, right? How do we, bring down, the 200,000 cats? How do we bring down, the population of dogs? And it's through education and good-hearted people like you guys selves. So there's a lot of people who are good-hearted too. And if you want to make a donation, you can make a donation. John, look like you say something. Go.
No, I was only saying, so I'm a very frugal person. I'm not big on spending money. But, one of the ways you can also help us is, through time. So, one of our big needs right now is fosters. So, you may not be able to donate, but if you can foster a dog and foster a cat, that expands our capacity of care. That lets us take in more dogs and more cats. If you like getting your steps in, dog walkers, we can always use a dog walker. We try to have dog walkers every morning, every afternoon. If you want to get your steps in and take a dog out and make after a day, you can definitely join us for that. Or volunteers. We always can use volunteers in the shelter when we're out in the community doing community events, or, just hanging out with us, helping us in surgery, cleaning surgical instruments and surgical packs. Little things like that increase our capacity of care for the animals in the island.
Yeah, parents, you got to talk to your children, because one of the things, I go to all these schools, I speak and ask, what do you guys want to be when you grow up? And I would say half of the kids in the school say a veterinarian, right? So they're not only thinking about this when they're little, high schoolers. You guys what a great way to dive into something if you're really thinking about becoming a veterinarian. Go volunteer.
100%. And the thing too, you really want to make sure you know what you're getting into if you want to be a veterinarian. So I always tell my students, I'm not a vet, but I teach vet tech students, is that if you really want to get into this, come out and volunteer with us a day. See what it's actually like, before you dedicate, anywhere from 4 to 8 years of your life to become a tech or a veterinarian. So yeah, like you said, starting young, get your feet wet, come in there, spend some time with us, get your hands dirty,
Okay, so look, do we have an opportunity to control the population of the cats? I think that's the biggest thing that people are probably thinking right now.
And I think people want to know, how do I do that? How do I participate? If I see cats running around, how do I know if they're neutered or spayed? And then also, how do I catch them? And then what do I do after that?
Yeah.
So that's a very good question. So there's a program here called TNR, and most states have TNR programs. TNR stands for trap, neuter, and return. The emphasis returning the cats in the R to their environment. That's the biggest thing. If you see a cat running around in your community, we notch them here in Hawaii. And if you see a cat and it has a notch in its left ear or its right ear, that's an indication that cat has been caught already and sterilized. So we do offer, a reduced cost, way reduced cost for TNR cats at our shelter. And we do that about twice a week. We do TNR surgeries. And that process is pretty simple. You locate a colony of cats, you either rent a trap from us or from Hawaii Humane Society, or you purchase one. You get the trap out there and the cat goes in a trap. Once they're caught in a trap, you bring them to us early in the morning the next day. We will sterilize an animal, and then you pick it up that afternoon and you return that animal to its colony or to its property where you found it at.
A lot of people I've seen people go out to these colonies and feed the cats, again, because we live in this kind of culture, we're taking care, there's another way you can do it. Again, the notch. Look for the notches.
Yeah, look for the notch,
Yeah, to see, maybe I need to do more than just feed the cats in the neighborhood. Maybe I can trap and help and be more productive if I really love these animals. Mm-hmm. And I want to make sure that, they don't get abandoned or even hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of your colony caretakers or the people that take care of these groups of cats, they kind of know their cats. They know which cat is sterilized and which cat's not sterilized. A lot of them do a really good job of making sure that every cat they take care of is sterilized. But like you were saying, Augie, there are some people that just go out there and feed them.
Yes.
And they are not managing them. They're only feeding them. We need them to manage, not just feed as well.
Absolutely. Okay. Producer Chaz sent me a text and said, how can someone adopt a dog or cat, and how does Oahu SPCA differ from the Humane Society? Good question, Chaz.
Well, we're a private nonprofit organization. We have adoption applications online, and you also call and make an appointment to come and see our animals in-house. And then every one of our pets that are adoptable are on our website and social media. So, as I said, Oahu SPCA is the first no-kill shelter in Hawaii, and we're trying to inspire the rest of the state to achieve that level of 90 or better live outcome, and to keep up with the rest of the country, because 3 out of 4 of the bricks and mortar shelters in the mainland are no-kill facilities now. This is a huge evolution since in the last 15 years.
That's awesome. All right, so I look like Chaz is going to come and see you guys. He's going to go adopt a cat.
Where are you located again? Can you remind me?
823 Olive Avenue in Wahiawa. So we're centrally located. Everybody can get to us.
Easy. All right, 808-913-6450. We'll wrap things up. It's the right side, a common sense conversation.
Welcome back to The Right Side with Hawaii public officials and community leaders. Let's get back to Common Sense Conversations.
It's Father's Day weekend. And
Happy Father's Day, Augie.
every dad loves a dog.
Right?
I don't know. I have never met any dad that, has an opportunity. How many dad like myself love cats? So, what a great way to surprise dad. They're going to be like, whoa. And then, you know what? Eventually, they just,
So for Father's Day, you could give your dad or your husband or your significant other a dog or a cat.
Correct.
Pick the kitty well or the dog well, and then make it part of your family and say Happy
Look,
Father's Day.
I know Chaz is already going, yeah, that'd be a good gift, right, Chaz? You come home, whenever my hair adopts like a cat.
Your daughter, yeah.
They don't say nothing. I am sitting there going, what is that in the corner? What is that in the corner sitting there? Oh, yeah, we adopted another cat. I'm like, what?
Okay, but
then at the end of the week, I'm already like,
softy.
yeah.
You have a big heart. You have a big heart. You always have room for one more cat.
Yes, or one more dog.
Okay, but I got to just ask you, at your max, can you admit how many you had? Because I'm pretty sure I know the answer.
9.
That was 9 cats and 2 dogs?
3 at one time.
3 dogs?
Yes.
See? 12 animals. I mean, talk about a softie.
Nice. Yeah, no, I love them. I'm a farmer.
A farmer at Eva Beach.
I love animals, and it's hard as they got older. It is hard for me because I don't, I'm a softie. You don't
want to see them die.
No,
I know that's the
and I
hardest
take
part.
them all the way to the end. And just, it's the hardest. Watch them grow old and.
But the thing is, you get so much love, and they give so much love, and they're such good examples for humans.
And
unconditional love.
What a great way to do Father's Day, to surprise dad with a dog or a cat.
Or take dad to the shelter, make an appointment.
Let's talk about the assurance. Can we talk about the
Sure.
assurance plan, Stephanie?
Yeah, if you're worried about adopting, we have this amazing foster program or foster to adopt, where it really teaches your children responsibility and empathy for an animal or something that needs help.
Okay.
And so, that would be a great thing for Father's Day, but also for seniors to foster or foster to adopt. Many seniors are reticent to make that commitment because their fear of not being able to care for that animal. But if you can no longer care for your animal or predecease them, the Oahu SPCA has the Pet Assurance Program, where we guarantee that we foster or adopt and watch and monitor the pet for the rest of its life. And, you can rest assured that we will take care of that animal.
See, they're doing amazing things.
They think about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's so important. It's so important. John, last minute thoughts?
Yeah, I'll say if you don't already, make sure you follow us on social media, on our Facebook page or Instagram. Not only do we post updates, with animals we have available, what's going on in our community, we also post events. So like I said, if you do need vaccines, it's something you can't financially afford right now, we want to be there to help you. So like I said, we are going to be having a vaccine clinic coming up, 1 or 2 more this month. If you follow social media, you'll be able to find the locations. And we also post information, like if there's something going on in the island where there's going to be an outbreak of a disease or something like that, we will be sure to post it and make sure everybody's informed through our social media and our website.
Awesome. Stephanie, have last minute thoughts?
Well, we're very blessed to live in Hawaii, and we're very blessed with the community that we have that is so empathetic and caring for the family. So everybody rally their family members and be responsible pet owners and help us in foster to adopt.
And if you can make a donation, do that too. Any kind of help, is good help. And you guys doing an amazing job. We want to make sure that all the animals in Hawaii are taken care of, and it doesn't, again, overpopulate. We've let it go on too long, and now we have good people that, want to see this thing go down so that we can be all responsible and enjoy our pets to the very end. To the very end, not because it's convenient, but to the very end. And that takes a lot of love, and it takes a lot of, commitment. And that's what you're doing when you bring in, a pet to your family. It's a long-term commitment.
Yeah, so making a donation, you can help by making a donation to Oahu SPCA, by following them on social media, by adopting a cat or a dog for Father's Day or any other holiday or any day.
And you guys have a gala yearly, and people can participate in that, right?
And also smaller fundraisers as well.
Okay. All right.
Is there a sweetbread fundraiser? Because I'll buy some. This is what we get in our office all the time.
No, see, Malia, I know, sweet bread.
Right? No, in our office, we
Yes.
always have, Marcia has children,
Yeah.
and we always buy whatever. There's cookies, sausage, whatever.
Well, I want to thank you, John and Stephanie, for joining us today. Lots of great information. Malia, what are we having next week?
Roger Babcock.
Ah,
We had to put it off a little bit.
Because
now
of
he's finally coming here, and he can explain a lot about the sewer fees.
That's good.
And all the other things that he takes care of. I always say he takes care of all the yucky stuff in town.
Correct.
Which is sewage, garbage,
no,
recycling,
we'll talk about
all those
upcoming
things.
current rates, and we'll talk about why it got there, and how we can, make our facilities better and do a better job at picking up people's trash also.
Right on.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This is The
for having
Right
us.
Side, a common sense conversation. We'll see you guys next week. Aloha.